You are a show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na-na-na, na-na-na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me.
Oh.
My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, it's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
you are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I can come over.
Come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio station that leaves no listener behind. 25 years strong, number one talk in the IE, and we're working on more than that. And this is a show about hope and happiness. 629 consecutive weeks strong. We are into my 12th year. And, you get bad news readily available everywhere you turn on, whether it's on the news, if you still have a TV, or on your device. So that's why I decided over 12 years ago, that I wanted to balance out the bad news with good news. So I have topics and guests and special series and special occasions here on the show for us to practice balancing out bad news with good news. So what's good about you? What's good about life? And what's good about being Asian today? Yes, we are celebrating AAPI month. And as you can see, you have my favorite Asian co-host. I had to think back to all my co-hosts and see if I was insulting anybody by saying that. You've seen her before. She's a wonderful step in there at any moment. I need her co-host. Her name is Ranella Ferrer. You may have seen her, heard her singing the national anthem to Clippers, Kings, Ducks, Lakers, Dodgers, and all of the other sports teams that I don't remember the name of. But please welcome back to my studio a woman who, we had the funny beginning. She started stalking me. No, I'm kidding. She found me on social media, sort of #accidentally. And she's turned out to be such a wonderful friend, both personally and professionally. And most important, I am a godparent to her two beautiful Frenchies, Bowser and Layla. Well, please welcome Lala. Please welcome back to the show, Ranella Ferrer.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction. Happy AAPI month. Yes.
I accept. Yeah.
You look amazing.
Yeah. This is
and I love your theme outfit.
It's a cheap how.
That's what it's called.
So that's cheap how. It's a Mandarin traditional dress. It's very modest and elegant at the same time, which is how Chinese women are supposed to be brought up, and quiet. I missed that part. But we're going to talk about all those things after breakfast. You know the drill. First thing in the morning, I like to get you started talking about what's good in your life, both outside, which is the top of the bun, gratitude, and bottom of the bun is what you like about yourself, going inside. So I'll start with you. What are you grateful for this morning?
I'm grateful that it's Monday. I'm another year older, and I reached this age, 21 forever. Still happy and healthy, married, and looking back, I'm exactly where I prayed to be 10 years ago. And I can't believe I'm here. And that's one thing I'm grateful for.
Beautiful. I'm grateful that I can sing Happy Birthday, dear Ranella. Happy birthday to you.
Yay! I love
Thank you.
I love how you even changed the melody and you added your little tune. I love that. Yes, thank
Always
you so
doing
much.
something weird with something else.
No, different, unique, and beautiful.
Oh, thank you. And that is actually, we discovered, we had a friend in common, and his name is Stevie Wonder. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but the cool thing is both of them call each other twins because their birthdays are a day apart, right?
Yes. He calls me the little bull, and I called him the OG Taurus bull because his birthday is May 13th and mine is May 14th. And it's funny because when we say, oh, you're a Taurus, we automatically understand each other. And people say we're stubborn, but I say we're strong-minded. So there's a difference.
Yes, that's a good one. Then I guess I am strong-minded too.
Yes.
But, yeah, I don't usually. It's interesting. I don't usually get along with Taurus.
You told me that. Yes.
I know. Yeah. Was it men or women? I said.
I'm not sure, but there's two different types of Tauruses too. There's like the more down-to-earth Taurus, the more earthy signs, and there's the Taurus that are very too meticulous. They're too scared. They're very like high in my they're very picky, and those are the Taurus I avoid. But I do have a lot of Taurus friends, and I do have a lot of Leo friends as well. And I actually love having Leo women as friends because I kind of like let them take over. That's the time I'm like relaxed, like, okay, I don't have to do anything because my Leo friends are the bossy ones this time. So,
and we're getting it done. That's the big difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, whatever. I must have had interactions with that kind of Taurus.
Yes.
Before, and not because you and Stevie I love. So obviously I got over whatever that was. It's interesting when I do the swiper no swiping, that Ranella is also responsible for forcing me to start dating after 12 years
6
of
months
not dating. She's
congratulations,
something.
6 months in.
Something. Yeah. Oh, I'm 6 months in, huh? She's keeping track. I didn't even realize that. I've had I think 11 dates now.
Oh, 11 is my lucky number. So that's the power number. So that's good.
I have not had any second dates. So, but it's a start. First day's the start. And so it's funny because my grand dog's son, this is my gratitude, is that I get my own Frenchie in my life, which is my daughter's boyfriend, now their Frenchie, Pablo. And it's funny because his birthday is on Stevie's birthday.
Oh, wow. Oh.
So I put a little clip together of him and you, and of course you're the mom of my kids. Right. So I put the kids and Stevie, and I posted it, and I sent just the video without the post to my daughter and her boyfriend. And they're like, and why are there other people and dogs on the birthday post for that? I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Frenchie parents are so in love when they're like, it's a different world. I thought I was just gonna have a dog, but like when you have a French bulldog, be ready that it's like your actual child. Even worse too. Yes, like a baby forever.
Yeah. But it was so cute because I'm grateful. Actually, I appreciate. Let's go down to the appreciation. Why do I do appreciation? Why do I want to talk about what I'm good at or what is good about me? It's because we naturally don't do that. Most of us are raised either in religion or culture that says, don't toot your own horn. Don't, don't be all that. You're not all that, especially in the Asian culture. And the good news about that is humility. The bad news about that is you hide yourself. You don't put yourself out there. You don't recognize that you're one of a kind, wonderful. And so the bottom of the bun is about exercising your ability to balance, not be all hot shiitake, Nobody is shiitake, but a lot of us think we're a piece of shiitake, and that's what trying to get you out of. So I like about myself that I am like a kid, baby, and dog magnet. And every time it happens, like happened in the elevator yesterday, twice. It happened that clip that I put on social that you loved, that your dog heard talking.
Yes.
And that dog
ran
voice
to
came running.
they were like, "Where is she? Where's Dr. Marissa?" It was so,
Love
I
it.
was like, "She's not here."
I love it. And there's I think it's because I vibrate. I try to vibrate at a higher level, not stay in like negativity too long. Although I had a great guest last Monday that if you have a chance to listen to, his name's Brother Ishmael Tete. And he blew my mind on a couple of BS belief systems that I've been holding about hatred's not a good feeling to have, so you get rid of it, anger, hostility, all of those things that I preach against. And he said, if you don't recognize and honor that part, you are basically separating yourself from nature, because there is no waste in nature. And when you're mad, that's a feeling that is there for a reason. So to say, I'm not going to feel that way or get off of it so quickly, some people call it a spiritual bypass, is not good for you. So it was one of those real, like babies cry when they're in their diapers, when their diapers are dirty, right? You're pissed.
Yeah. Right. No, it's true.
So yeah, I've had to really, I love that. So I'm not shitting on myself for feeling those things. So I appreciate my magnetic with babies and dogs. And I appreciate that I'm almost always open to learn something new. So what do you like about yourself, Ranella?
I would say ditto, but I was going to say I appreciate how much courage I've had since I was young. Because sometimes I look back and I'm like, how did I get here? All I really wanted to do was sing, and now I'm in front of 30,000 people or 70,000 people or however many people, or just even being able to talk to you right now, being interviewed for AAPI Heritage Month. I never thought that from my passion or my love for music or the gift that I've been gratefully bestowed upon in my life, that I would achieve half of the things that I've done, and all because of courage. And sometimes I just block everything out, and I'm grateful that I've had courage to enter these rooms or be able to speak to these people or be able to face everyone with everything that I've been given. And that's one thing that I'm really grateful for, humbly.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me humble as well. Because I'm like, how did I get here? All I wanted to do was sing, you know?
Yeah. And that is it. And you know, all 8 billion of us on the planet have a unique gift, talent, and ability. And when you're looking for purpose in your life, my coaching is always, it's not about finding what your specific, you know, what you're supposed to bring to the world. It is about having joy and loving who you are and what you do. And then whatever that is will surface. But in the search for the purpose, sometimes we miss out on, you know, the joy of life, which is exactly why we're here, which is exactly why I do what I do, Ranella, as well. It's like that field of dreams, right? Kevin Costner, if you build it, they will come. If you're focused on you and what you like to do and how you like to do it and what you're doing and you enjoy it, then the inspiration will come. Okay, call this person or do this or whatever.
Right.
That's kind of what happened with us.
Right.
You know, saw me on social, followed me because you were looking at, just moved to Naples, and then find out, you know, you had said that Stevie Wonder had, you know, you met him and he wanted to sign you, and you know, he loved your voice, and then, you know, I know Stevie from Agape, and he recognizes my voice, and my big brother Michael Bernard Beckwith is, one of his teachers, and he'll pop up at Agape, and then again, hashtag accidentally, I meet him in front of the bathroom by accident and mention your name. He lights up. So, that's
awesome.
That's so cool. And so now we share that. And so I think that I appreciate my ability to just be open to those things, right?
Right.
And now
You speak to different celebrities that's another thing, as an Asian American, and not stutter a word, and you're in front of people of the highest positions as well. So that's an amazing thing. Like, I appreciate you for doing that and representing on behalf of all of us, because you've spoken with people of the highest positions from all over the world and speaking to the world about your position, so I appreciate you for being able to represent on behalf of all of us.
I receive. And it is AAPI month, and you're listening to two Asian women who we will continue to talk about this through the show. But the question is, what does it mean to be an Asian woman? One of those things that we're going to answer, and Ranella just gave you a preview on that. Other AAPI topics that we're going to cover today is I'd like to spend a minute talking about the conflict or the challenge of having, the culture that is the older culture, right? And then being born in a newer culture, and that shock absorber sometimes that first generation, second generation, third generation Asians have, even ones who 10 generations back. All of that is a tricky landscape. And when I was in Australia, I actually met some Asian people who were in. One was the press secretary for the former prime minister, and he's Asian, and his staff, and we were talking about. You go to visit your family and you're like criticized for speaking your mind, criticized for standing up and being brave. You're criticized and you want to honor, because you come from that culture, very strong honor, the tiger mom, the what are you going to be, a doctor or a lawyer? That stereotype, which is really not a stereotype. It's based in a lot of truth, and Ranella can tell you about that. And how we can navigate that. So that's another topic that I wanted to cover today. So keep it here. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show, and we are focused on AAPI month, celebrating who we are in the culture that who we are. That when in Rome, do as the Romans do. That is such ignorant. Let me stay positive for one more second. Yes. But anyways, thanks for having breakfast with us. And I challenge you 28 consecutive days. If you could start your day with gratitudes on top and appreciation before you go to bed, instead of thinking about what you didn't get done or who done you wrong or who insulted you, you're going to have the best possible sandwiched day every single day. So thanks for joining us for breakfast. This is Dr. Marissa, and in studio today,
Ranella Ferrer. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I put you on the spot. My beautiful inside and out Asian sister co-host, Ranella Ferrer.
Oh, excuse me. Did you just hear me sneeze for a second?
Nope.
Oh, you did it. Oh, that was perfect timing.
That's what I'm all about. All right, so let's jump in and just continue on with what I just started around that cultural divide. Because I know you thought I was Swedish, but I'm actually Chinese. I have a dash of Mongolian, so don't piss me off. And I know that it was just a given. The best thing I could have been for my parents was a doctor, a medical doctor. That is the number one destination for life as a Chinese daughter or something, right? And in the Filipina culture, you were told or expected, a nurse,
doctor, accountant. What else? Those are pretty much it. Lawyer, but mostly nurses. So if you go to the hospital, 99% you'll see a Filipino. 1 out of 5, I believe. Whatever state you're in the U.S., there's always a Filipino nurse. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just so you know, we're teaching a little Chinese. I said earlier, this is a chi pao, the traditional dress. And it is proper, isn't it, to say Filipina when you're referring to a woman Filipino, and a Filipino for a male Filipino. Is that correct?
Right. But you can also say Filipino for both men and women. So it's considered plural. Or it's considered,
inclusive.
Yes, inclusive. Exactly. So for both men and women, you can also say, I'm Filipino, Filipino American. But you can say she's Filipina. I mean, it's confusing. Our language has so many different dialects also that I only know Tagalog, but there's so many of them that I don't even understand the other ones. So.
Yeah. And you got a nice finger for that. Someone gave you the finger. Not that one, but this one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So,
and there's eyeballs rolling, and I am so appreciative when you come and play with us. Please go to my YouTube TV channel because you can type and look at us and see what kind of Asian we are. And then, but if you're driving and you're tuned in and you're on my AM 1050 FM 106.5 NBC News Radio KCAA, please do not chat. Wait till you land and then get on whatever smart device you are on and chat with us. All right. So you brought up another thing. Okay. So there's the expectation.
And even the way I look, people don't think I'm Filipino.
Same here, except that they do think I'm Filipina and don't think I'm Chinese.
I thought you were Japanese, Hawaiian.
Most people think I'm Filipina because of the nose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And the cheekbones and the nose are actually from my Mongolian heritage, so it's more than a dash. But yeah.
But like you said, also Chinese people are more, quiet. Well, yeah. So, and then Filipino women have straight Asian hair. Most of my sisters, actually not most of my sisters, all my sisters, my mom have straight black Asian hair. And I dye my hair lighter, of course, but I happen to have curly hair. And I think that's really from the deepest part of my roots, because Filipino people, just to educate you guys, the first people in the Philippines were called negritos. They were very like islanders, typical islanders. And then the Hispanics or the Spaniards came and conquered our country, Philippine Magellan. That's how we got our name, Philippines, from Philippine Magellan. And then different countries conquered our country. We've had Chinese. That's why we have a little bit of Chinese in us. You see some Filipinos that look super Chinese, Japanese, Americans. So we've been conquered by different cultures. So I'm really a mixture of what a Filipino person should look like, because sometimes people they can't really tell what are you unless you're really Filipino, like you're Filipino. There's only very few people that have really dissected me and you're Filipino, but you could be mixed with something. No, I'm full Filipino.
Because I had heard that Filipinas or Filipino people were cross. They were darker skinned because they had African in them. But you're saying
the first one,
Oh, the first one.
So the first people in the Philippines, technically were black. They were called negritos because we have 7,107 islands in the Philippines. So technically they're islanders. That's why Hawaiians also look Filipino, because they merged into Hawaii. so we do have like the darker skin, but when the Spaniards, Americans, the Chinese came, that balanced out. Like we became different colors, and everyone looks different in the Philippines. Literally, there's some parts of the province that are more darker skinned, but then in the city they look so like some mixed with white or Hispanic. Or there are some parts that look super Chinese, more Chinese than you, and they speak fluent Tagalog, and they don't know how to speak Mandarin or Cantonese. But my stepdad is actually half Filipino, and I told you that he speaks, I guess, Cantonese. So.
Yeah. And so this brings up another point, celebrating AAPI month here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, TV Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker. I just realized I forgot to do this at the top of the show. And everywhere. Why? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. And you're tuned in today celebrating AAPI month. And I just put that on. Celebrate. Come on.
Hey.
Yes. And I actually got to meet him as well from Kool and the Gang.
Yeah, that's my friend. One of them is Amir Bayan, who's a brother. He's like a family friend of ours. My mom knows him. They used to stay at my mom's house when they lived in Arizona. That's a good friend of mine. And now they're in Vegas. I was telling him because they're having a concert in LA. And if they do, I'll let you know. Sometimes he gives me like free tickets.
Awesome.
And then,
actually, I gave away free tickets to their concert when they were at the Cerritos Performing Arts Center.
Yay!
One of my sponsors. Yeah. So I got to interview him behind on the carpet behind the stage. And the one, am I thinking of somebody else? I better not say it. Anyways, I wanted just to highlight that when you say AAPI, when we say AAPI, that is such a huge. How many islands did you say in the Philippines?
Philippines, 7,107 islands.
So every one of those is a separate entity of Filipino. China, the ones that you may be familiar with are the provinces of Canton, because you know about Cantonese, speaking Cantonese, Shanghainese, and then Fujian maybe are the top three in LA. But there's a myriad of differences within China itself, a myriad of differences in Japan, a myriad of differences in Thailand within, and then the differences between Philippine and Chinese, you can see are marked. So when we say API month and some are, we don't have a month and blah, 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 it's like, sweetheart, this is, in 1 month, you're covering
a whole continent.
It's like it's just not, so let's recognize that for a minute. And at the same time, yes, there are some similarities with Asian, right, as a culture. And I am proud that I am one of the original valuing diversity thinkers and implementers of training courses, and you can blame me for those too, for organizations in Los Angeles. First Interstate Bank was the first one that actually looked at that back in the 90s. And then I got to put 85,000 Los Angeles County employees through a co-designed with Howard Phillips and a team of us who put together the Value and Diversity Program. And the biggest challenge is talking about diversity, because people get their panties all up in a knot if you talk about group differences. Oh, you're stereotyping. You shouldn't be stereotyping, which is true. You don't want to stereotype because you don't want to put people in a category that isn't true for them. It's true for a lot, but not all. Right? So that's what a stereotype is. I like talking about group differences because they're true, right? It is true that many Asian women, when they're brought up, they are taught to be a step behind the man, right?
Yes.
That's just the truth. However, if you want to date with me, and you say to me, I've always wanted, or I've always been attracted to Asian women, if I stay and not flip over the table.
That's the worst. When we hear that, guys, don't ever say that.
Yeah, don't ever say that.
I love Asian girls. That's not a turn on.
Yeah, it just conjures up. And yes, I am an Asian woman, but the traditional way of the, I'll say it, the Caucasian, the white understanding of Asian women, my reaction is, 1, I will not cook for you. 2, I will not clean for you. And 3, the only way I'm going to walk on your back is with high heels on.
Right?
Okay. So this is the challenge when you're talking about any group difference. It is not black or white. So some people will say to that, okay, Dr. Marissa, tell me what I can and cannot say, what I should or should not say, what term should I use for whatever group, what is the right answer? I don't want to get, dinged on political correctness and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've missed the point. Because if you're more concerned for being correct, political correctness, then you've lost the ability to show that you want to connect. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
When someone says to you, you're being racist, I kind of tell people, don't come out like that. Like if somebody says something accidentally that is offensive, don't react the way I just reacted. I would say instead, thank you. I think you meant that as a compliment. But I would like to know that I'm more than just what you see as an Asian woman. I have many sides of me. Some may be more inclined to Asian thoughts and behaviors, but some are definitely not. And nobody wants to be put in a category when you first meet them. They want you to get to know them in all of the complexity as you do. So that is hashtag Happy88 tool number 1 on how to honor any difference. But since it's AAPI, how do you honor Asians during this month? Well, you ask questions. You say, "Oh, isn't that cool?" Or, "Oh, I didn't
learn about our culture, eat our dish."
But the worst thing to do. Oh wait, got a heart on that one. The worst thing to do is, Ranella, so what is it like being an Asian woman? What do Asian women like? What do Asian women eat? What do Asian? That is also the other extreme. Don't assume that we look Asian, that we're going to speak on behalf of how many billions are Asian women, right? So there's the balance. And that's why I think America as a culture has difficulty with diversity, because there's a lot of high J people. High Js are people who feel good when they know the right answer, right? They want to know, is it good, bad, right, wrong? What category does it go into? And if you say, well, it kind of depends, that's like, don't tell me that. I don't feel good if I don't know the answer. So that is one of the reasons why there is that unfortunate tension when it comes to diversity and homogeneity. Go ahead.
Well, being a Filipina has been a blessing and a curse in this industry. There's been advantages, but also there's been disadvantages, especially when people are questioning, like, well, what are you capable of doing as a singer? Especially in the beginning stages of my career, I was being questioned, like, well, can you really sing? Because during that time, there were no live streams, or there were no social media like that's as big as it is now, and people weren't able to. The internet wasn't as big either. I mean, people weren't able to do their own research on how great people are in vocals, like how powerful vocals are, just like even like yourself. And people would question me like, well, can you really sing? Can you really bring it to the table? So whenever I would be around other cultures that are questioning my vocal skills, I was so used to people saying, go sing for me on the spot, where in some cultures would be insulted, like, I'm not singing for you just because you told me to. I actually loved it because I'm like, well, let me show you that this is what I'm about. And to me, in the back of my head, even though I didn't look like it and people thought that I was of another culture, in the back of my head, I felt like I was waving my flag of the Philippines. I'm like, I'm representing for us because later on down the line, I know that people are going to find and show light to our culture and to like look at how it is now. Like there's a lot of K-pop on the scene. There are still no Asian American artists or Filipina American artists that's a household name like a Beyonce or J-Lo or anything like that. And I feel like there's still a need and a void for that. So that's, to me, is the advantage, because that lane is still open. And normally they just see us as like, oh, you're just a K-pop, or you're just, you know, not just, but like you're just categorized as that, and they question your ability, that you're, you know, of vocal skills. Where in reality, I'm like, if you stand me next to a Beyonce right now, I'm ready. You know, so that's one thing that I'm grateful for, because the lane is still open. But we surpassed those disadvantages, hence why we're here.
And so, Ranella, please sing a little something for me.
I will love you anyway, even if you cannot stay. I think you are the one for me. Here is where you ought to be. I just want to satisfy you, 'cause you're not mine and I can't deny it. Don't you hear me talking, baby? Love me now or I'll go crazy.
Oh, it's not going. Hold on. I was trying to give you applause, and I think Katie was also hitting that applause button at the same time. But beautiful. And I did that on purpose. I didn't tell her I was going to do it, because that voice coming out of you, and you can't see, but she's not tall. So it is beautiful, powerful, and where that "are you sure you can sing" assumption comes from, which is why I wanted you to do that. And so I'm going to also now compliment you the way you did to me and acknowledge that you are a role model for Filipina women. You do a lot for representing the culture. And I know you've been interviewed on Philippine TV, as I have, which is kind of cool. And you do a lot of events representing the Philippine culture, which is beautiful, because kids do need that role model to feel as if it is attainable. Some people have said to me, I don't understand what the big deal is. Michelle Yeoh, bless her, and her tenacity and her being recognized, Malaysian woman, actually.
Oh, wow, I did not know she was Malaysian.
So again, like the same way you just acknowledged me, it is important for us to have a positive feeling to represent. And it's not easy when you grow up with a lot of ridicule about looking different, about being Asian. So when when I hear people say, well, the Asians need to advocate for themselves, they need to be, more, when we went through all of that, thank God it's almost over. There's little pockets, but nothing like it was before with the Stop Asian Hate. Right? So it is not as bad, just like COVID. I think the two went together, the hate virus and the COVID virus, right? Yes. But it is, if you're someone who has not embraced their Asianness because of the pain that you went through growing up, I get you, right? I was called a chunk because I was a fat and the term, not to insult anybody, but this is what was used. Chink, which is a bad term. It's like the N word, and we don't want to use it, but just to highlight what I'm talking about, can you imagine what it was like for a 13-year-old to be called a chunk?
That's terrible.
That was not easy to do. And so I hated, this is my story, I hated being Chinese. I mean, when people would say, what are you? Are you Hawaiian? I would say, yeah, because Hawaiian was a good thing, but being Chinese was a bad thing. So I am now speaking to anyone who is of a different culture, who does not embrace their roots, is for you to be the most effective and the happiest in your life. Embrace those parts of you that you were ridiculed for, because it's not about the race, it's about you. Can you own and love 88% of who you are? That's one of the purposes of the show and of my message. So that's my
I do have a
soapbox.
question about that. During the COVID, being Chinese, or if people didn't know you were Chinese, or when people found out that you were Chinese, did you feel that they were judging you, or did you feel that they were questioning you, or did you ever experience any type of discrimination during that period?
Let's put the moose on the table.
Okay, let's do it.
So moose on the table is my Canadian version of talking about the elephants in the room. So it is very difficult to support leadership when they actively say, if you don't like it here, go home, or Chinese virus, or so being Chinese is not necessarily a good thing right now, even, right? Every time you turn on the TV and they talk about something about bad China, right? That does, the way people look at me, or I'm going to China in June. So I get to lecture at 2 different universities. I'm taking my younger daughter, who one of her majors was Chinese. I'm excited about taking her, but I am going, and people are like a little concerned about me. What if you get, like the volleyball player or whatever? First of all, I'm not going to get caught for 420, but I'm not. I'm also going under the protection of the fact that my father was the first foreign expert invited into China, very honorable thing. And my father's cousin is the very big architect I.M. Pei. So he's the most celebrated. So I am somewhat, I have no fear on that.
Yes.
I am purposely going before the election, because who knows what's going to happen after the election with all the hate talk going on, both ends. So I'm not afraid, and I also am cognizant that, like, to answer your question, when anything negative comes up on the news about Chinese, I do perceive that people are looking at me funny, but then I'll own the fact that sometimes I have a very creative imagination, and I go to MSU University, making shiitake up university. So I can create some issues when there are no issues. And I've spoken to you about this when you asked me, what do I do about what I perceive as discrimination? And this is for all people of color. Don't assume that you are being discriminated against. Don't make something out of nothing. Not saying there is nothing, but even if it's there, you reacting in a negative way to anything that's perceived is not going to be good. Knee-jerk reactions, they're called knee-jerk reactions because you end up looking like a jerk. So give people BOD, benefit of the doubt, that they're not being discriminative, but that they are just not, I wouldn't even say ignorant, because ignorant's a bad word. It means you're stupid. I mean ignorant in a way that you just don't know. You don't know.
I will say that. Okay. Some people are ignorant, and unfortunately because the ignorant ones are the ones that don't take the time to educate themselves, and they want to be stuck to that thought or that belief system, because it's not only other, let's say, nationalities that I've felt discriminated upon or from. It's also from my own culture sometimes, because I don't look Filipina. I enter a room full of Filipinos and they look at me like, she's not Filipino. Sometimes I even feel weird. When I was younger, growing up, I used to feel weird going to a Filipino event because my mom goes to a lot of those Filipino parties. When she was younger, she used to go to so many different parties, and I used to feel conscious because I didn't look full Filipina, and they would question like, who is she? What is she doing? She's not really Filipina. How is she representing our culture? Even right now, they would have Filipino heritage nights or Filipino heritage events, and there's only very few that have asked me to sing the Star Spangled Banner in these large events. They don't really pick me because I don't look full Filipina. But the thing is, this is where ignorance comes from, because some people are stuck on that belief system where I've explained to you guys the reason why I look the way I do is because I am a mixture of all the cultures that has colonized our country. And unfortunately, because of that discrimination, I'm not picked as the Filipino Heritage Night National Anthem singer, which is that's to me is the elephant in the room for my culture. And unfortunately, it's very unfortunate because they're still stuck on the old school way of thinking. But in reality, nowadays, everyone's so mixed, like, which is beautiful. Like down to like, I see different Filipino American, Filipino Hispanic, or Filipino Black and Filipino that they look beautiful. That, to be our Miss Universe is Filipino, and I think she's Filipino and German or whatnot. But, so that's my little spat for this morning.
And it's a good one. It, prejudgment and negative stereotyping is not good for anybody. So if you want to honor celebrating AAPI month, my first recommendation is, instead of negatively reacting to anybody calling you a racist or anybody saying that you are sounding racist, instead of saying, no, I'm not, I eat Chinese food, I have Filipino friends, like that is not response either. Instead of negatively just pushing back, is if you want to go to advanced valuing diversity school, you say, that's interesting. That was not my intent, but tell me what I'm saying that is triggering you to say that. So that's the first Happy ADA challenge for AAPI month, right? And then the second challenge is for all of us Asians, Asian women especially. What parts of the Asian upbringing from your parents in the culture are you allowing to make you less effective? So are you the best you can be with knowing that, you are a little of what your parents are, right? And it's okay. So love that part of yourself. And it's okay to also, which is my message, why I'm going to China and looking to get this little guy who's national bestseller #1 here. But in China, when I brought it before COVID, I saw the impact of talking about the unintentional impact of living with tiger moms. They were crying because they all knew that I understood what it's like to be called fat, ugly, and clumsy. It's not fun. But my mom grew up in a different culture of Chinese pure in her day. And negative motivation is just the way that they do it. That's just the way that
yeah, it's so true. Yes.
Right? You got that too from your mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
So that's my challenge to y'all who are Asian women. This is not just about you asserting your rights and being heard and seen and all of that. It's all about you owning and loving 88% of you in all of those different categories. So that's my challenge. Final word. We are already, when we talk, there's never enough time. So
almost
final
an hour.
word from Ranella Ferrer. Thanks for tuning in. This is Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and my YouTube channel, where you free subscribe. You'll get an alert every weekday morning. And my very special co-host today, who's going to give us the final word, is Ranella Ferrer. You've heard her, you've seen her, and I'm just so grateful that she came on to celebrate AAPI month today. What is your final word?
Thank you for having me here once again, on Asian American Heritage Month. What I would like to give the last thought is honor every culture. Right now, we are honoring, because it is highlighting Asian Americans. Honor every culture and have respect to whatever culture it is, because you can't. I'm gathering my thoughts. There's so many things that's going on in my head as you were speaking that I wanted to respond back to, but all I can say is, if you would like to get to know us, just like what Dr. Marissa said about our culture, you could ask us the questions. Try our food. If you've never tried Filipino food, if you've never tried Chinese food, try the local, support the local restaurant, the down the street or whatnot, and just educate yourself. There's internet available to know and learn more about our culture. Just because that's what you hear on television, or that's what your parents said how they are, or that's what your parents taught you, that doesn't mean that's a fact, because they only know that we're only educated by what they learned during that time of their life. And now there's so many different things that you can learn about our culture. And travel to Asia. Asia is beautiful. Philippines alone has 7,107 islands. You can go to an island and be alone by yourself or with your partner or whatnot. Travel and get to learn, especially with China. China is so big. Get to learn China. And if you are Asian, overcome that fear. I know we are taught to be timid and humble, and that's great. But at the end of the day, have courage. And no matter what your parents say, go for your dreams, because at the end of the day, once you're at that peak of success, they're the ones who's going to be congratulating you. And that is my word for the day.
Beautiful. And if you go and watch my first interview with Ranella, you will see how she grew up under that not fitting in kind of thing with it, both within her culture and in her family, and how the courage led her to be on Khloe Kardashian's Revenge Body, as well as other things, because she took the courage, and all of us have it, to just step forward and say, yes, I am an Asian woman, but no, I don't have to hide my light under a bushel. I don't have to be afraid, because every single one of us on the planet is one of a kind, wonderful, and especially Asian women who have traditionally not been allowed to speak or express. That's my mission, my Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years when I go to China, is to pass that message on. You can honor yourself. You don't need someone else to honor you. You can find what is beautiful in you inside and out 88% of the time, and embrace how you look, embrace who you are in the fullness and wonderfulness that you all are. And that is my final word. We're down to 1 minute? Oh,
1 minute.
I'll do the commercial. Thanks, Saban Theater, for being the sponsor for today. If you'd like free tickets to see Todd Rundgren, he's going to be in concert. Just hit me up, drmarissa.life, and I'll give you those 2 free tickets for supporting the arts. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Thanks for tuning in today. Keep it here for tomorrow. We have a special guest in studio. And it's a business episode, so come tomorrow. And thanks so much, Ranella. Love you.
Thank you.
Go and have the best day ever. Did I go over? I think I went over a little. I have to learn how to like save room for my sponsor announcement, or maybe do it halfway through. All good. That's good. Thank you. And I hope you understand. Rick does that all the time and drives me up the wall because he'll put it in the chat and ask me questions about my life. And I have to focus on the show. And that's the number one priority. So, all right. Thanks. That was great today. Bye. Have the best day ever.